All right, all right, all right.
All right.
Well, this is going to be a very boring podcast in the video games we've been playing.
Yeah, I know. Why do you think I'm playing Total War?
Hell yeah. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Game by Show podcast. It is March the 7th, 2022. That's right.
It's like a palindrome. That was my cat. That was my cat, Mathria.
That was your cat?
That was my cat, Mathria. She thinks she's starving to death because I spend all my time on podcasts and not feeding her.
She might be starving to death.
She might be. She's looking a little bony, but it might be because she's like 19 years old.
Looking a little bony. Your cat's
right.
looking a little bony, Jeremy.
I have a bony cat.
Hey guys, welcome to the show. My name is LeGrande. That's Jeremy. That's Jeremy's cat. There's Jerod and Dale. Hello, everyone.
Damn it.
Hello.
My game of Total War in the background just like crashed or something.
Good, you focus.
You know what the best game is for background is
people.
Vampire Survivors. That's the best background game. Hands down.
Sure. LeGrande starts playing that and then he never says another word the entire
No. I totally participate.
His internet goes out.
Yeah.
It's like
oh man, this Vampire Survivors game is just getting way too intense for this podcast right now.
See, I prefer to use GeForce Now on my Microsoft Surface tablet off to the side. That's my go-to.
that 56 megabyte file, Vampire Survivors, that can run while everything is running on your computer. It's great. It's a great game. And they keep updating it, by the way. Vampire Survivors.
Wow.
Since I talked about it, they've probably gotten 5 or 6 updates.
It is itself surviving.
Are they going to add vampires? What are they?
They already have vampires, silly.
Are they vampires with a Y?
Yes, they do. No. They should, though.
Are they doctors?
Dr. Vampires with a Y?
Dr. Vampires?
Dude.
You know, they should add that, but I don't think they're gonna.
They should do like a crossover. Like, wouldn't it be great if they had some, like, I don't know, Super Meat Boy in there or something like that?
Okay. Here is a golden idea for some game developer. I know you guys never get ideas.
Get this. There's guilds and there's wars.
No.
This is are out.
This is golden. It's
top-down pixel graphics MMO, freeform sandbox.
Just a little bit shy of isometric 3/4 overhead.
Listen, Super Smash Brothers system, but only vampires.
Only vampires
from all the franchises.
So like Lestat, Dracula.
Dracula's in there. You've got like what is that, like teen angsty vampire
guy?
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
You guys ever watch that? Ever see that weird fighting game that had like just all sorts of random anime stuff and people would bet on it on Twitch? Do you guys ever see that? What was that called? Salty Bet? Is that what that was?
Yeah.
That was fun to watch.
But the name of the game that is playing on that is Mugen.
That's right.
It's the Japanese word for infinity. But they probably make it like stand for something like multiple universes generate entertainment.
It was Mugen, right? MUGEN.
Now, there you go.
Yeah. I think the logo was Tom Hanks. Is that correct?
What?
I don't know about that. Maybe
the Saint Elmo's Fireverse. Like you can have Bob Newhart versus like I don't know the Fonz or something.
Tom Hanks is a fighter in Mugen. Like everything is. That's why it's everything.
The Fonz,
you know what?
Larry David versus
I'm just.
They still stream that?
Just go out and punch someone, and then everything becomes a fighting game.
So
everything you're connected to.
I'm just reminded now, horribly reminded about the video like community that Jeremy had sent, where they just turn on like WWE and like take bets.
That's the Video Game Championship Wrestling, and it was awesome. I love that. I want to watch that right now. I hope they bring that back. Video Game Championship Wrestling. So they used like WWE like 2008 or 12 or something. And they like did a credible job skinning different video game characters. Like there's Bowser and he's got like big green shoulder pads with spikes. They look like football spikes or something, but he's Bowser, and he's in like a yellow unitard. and like Waluigi or something, or like Mega Man or whatever, and they just dress up these characters and they have them on the lowest possible AI setting, like just the worst, and they just like stumble into each other and like sometimes fight, and somebody eventually wins, and they have these brackets and stuff. It's the stupidest thing ever. I haven't seen it for years, but hopefully they're still out there doing it.
That's kind of what Mugen is. It's just random AI fights with these random characters.
You know the Twitch Plays series of things that they've done? They should do a fighting game where it's like half of Twitch is, player A and the other half of Twitch is player B. And like you have to actually do like a whole tournament.
They've done some stuff like that. They've done stuff where fish, like goldfish in a bowl, like put their nosies up against the glass and it like pushes buttons or something.
That beats Dark Souls.
Yeah, well, yes. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
With a PlayStation Move controller.
Yeah.
I remember I've seen the Pokemon ones where they have the fish playing Pokemon.
Yeah, I've seen that too. And it's just by happenstance stuff happens.
You know
what?
They play you could set up like a big telescope and you could do like Milky Way galaxy plays, whatever, and like track, stars and nebulas and stuff. And then that's your input.
As the universe continues to expand, eventually somebody's going to be
Perseid Meteor Shower plays Pokemon.
Somebody's going to be Prince of Persia or something. Yeah. Look at this. We've got all the great ideas here tonight. Everybody should be here, like listening to some genius happen.
Vampire Smash Bros.
Oh. Ugh.
You had
all
me.
right. Yeah, we
had me at Vampires, lost me at Smash Bros.
Yeah, I think we peaked and we're heading down the hill now. We better get this thing rolling.
Vampire possesses a bar.
I'm in. I'm back in.
So I've been playing Guild Wars 2 End of Dragons.
Whatever.
No, you weren't here when we talked about it last week.
I listened to your segment on the podcast.
So I've gotten quite a bit further in
the podcast
story,
I started. It did not end.
And it's very good. The story so far. It is a nostalgia trip. So if you're a huge fan of Guild Wars 1, that's like a shoe-in. But I don't know. I really actually kind of wonder how it feels for new players. Like if this is where you started. I don't know.
Feels like a ripoff of Mists of Pandaria.
I mean, I feel like you would be so lost
without
you'd
pandas.
Be like, what the heck is going on? Yeah,
I don't practice Pandaria.
I don't think I've seen a panda.
They have a crystal ball.
No.
Mm.
I had a million gold pieces.
So what's the best quest you've done? Did you gather some apples or what? I mean, tell us something that's good about this. Like I'm starving here.
Yeah. So the best thing I've done so far.
Man, I'm so glad that Jeremy is giving someone else shit about the games that they play.
I mean, I know that it's going to.
It really feels good being on this side of that conversation today. For so long it's been, how can we shit all over WoW or Final Fantasy?
Look,
or
I tell you
Diablo or Heroes of the Storm.
I walked
and
with
now
you
it's
so that
Guild
I could
Wars
run
2.
with Jerod because
Guild Wars 2 time.
I'm done. You've worn me like ragged thin, and now Jerod can't talk about the game that he wants without telling me something new and good. Give it to me.
All right, so I have the skiff now, and I've been fishing.
I saw your video.
It's super relaxing. It's like, I don't know. It's just they got the water sounds going. It's really good.
Oh my gosh, water breakthrough technology in Guild Wars too.
So it's spoiler ridden because it's the main story, but some of the kind of set pieces. In fact, one kind of had me. I was like, wow, it's actually a really cool area that they built. And it's from the first game. It's like this like large cathedral type structure, but it's in ruin now. And so it's got these high vaulted ceilings, and you're doing this quest and kind of going around and searching for clues and stuff. And it's just they've really done the visuals team has done such a amazing job for a 10-year-old game now, on just making it like, wow. I didn't like you go to an original area and then come to like a new one. You're like, oh my gosh, it's amazing. So that's really what I've been enjoying. It's just kind of the sights and sounds. I did find an island populated only by cats, and you can pet the cats.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So I like that.
Yeah.
All right. That gets another half star from me of my. So now Guild Wars 2 End of Dragons is now it's half a star.
I gotta level with you, Jerod. I gotta be honest about Guild Wars 2. I look at the gameplay of this game, and I really like Guild Wars 2. Let me be clear. Me and Jerod, the first game we ever played together, aside from MechWarrior Online, it was Guild Wars 2.
Was it really? Wow.
Both great games.
For the record.
Yep.
And we got on and we rolled around. I think we had the same class. I can't remember what it was, but
Guardian.
Anyway,
you guys showed up to the party wearing the same dress.
And we were. And when I look at the screenshots and the video from your streams, like the game just looks old. Is that just the way that it is now? It's just an old looking game.
I will say,
nostalgic, if you please.
You know, I was actually looking at the screenshots and stuff too, and I was like, it doesn't look this bad. And in motion, it looks. It's one of those that doesn't. I don't know what's going on. Like you take a screenshot and you're like, eh. But like when you're running around, you're like, oh, this looks really nice. It's the whole package, I think.
You should use your iPhone and take one of those like moving photos or something. Like see if
just stream it and you can go watch it.
You can do that too.
That's good too.
You can do that too.
But yeah, and I'm a little lukewarm. So I've been testing out the Guardian's new elite specialization. And it's kind of cool. I've kind of got him set up to where he heals as he does critical attacks, and I just cranked his critical attack chance up as high as I could. So it's like over 50%. So it's like almost every other one is like doing healing, and so it makes him kind of sustainable until he isn't suddenly, and then I kind of die. So. I'm not really sure what to do with the new class. Just kind of playing around with it, or the new specialization. But
guess you better level a Mesmer.
Yeah, I don't want to level a Mesmer. I have every character at level 80, every class, but I play my Guardian. That's who I roll with. So,
do they raise the level cap at all in this game when they come with new expansions?
No. What they do is they release. They have a system called Masteries, and so once you hit 80, you're done. You start gaining mastery. Skill points, and so as you explore the world, do missions, do quests, you gain mastery points, and as you level up, you can then put those points into various mastery lines. Like some of them enhance your mounts or make it so you can craft legendary weapons. The one I just started lets you upgrade one of the like main cities, which is kind of cool. So it's like upgrades, but they're local to you, which is kind of a neat
I find
thing
that the progression and end game of Guild Wars is a little weird. I guess it's not traditional. Like
it is extremely like broad and flat. So you spend a lot of time like you can go get a legendary weapon, but it has no benefit in stats over an ascended weapon. The only major benefit you get is it's visually has more flair, but B, you can change the stats of the weapon just whenever you want. So that's kind of neat if you change your build a lot, but if you don't, it's not very valuable. But it does give you something to work towards. I mean, there are major investments to get. I think I have 2, and I'm halfway through my 3rd, which I don't know if I'll ever finish. They are big projects to do. So when you're kind of at the end game and you're not sure what to do, you can find a flashy weapon and start trying to work towards it. It'll probably take a couple months.
Just a bunch of random stuff to do at the end.
Yeah, a bunch of random stuff. And then, of course, there's the PvP or World vs. World if you're really into that. I was super into World vs. World for a very long time. It was like my go-to every night game. Get on and run around with big groups of people, fighting other big groups of people. In a 1v1 siege of like towers, and like you'd actually upgrade castles with defenses, and then you'd have to build siege equipment and destroy like the gates to get in and take over the castle and stuff. It was really cool. Loved that game mode. But, yeah, so it's from what I can tell so far, Guild Wars 2 End of Dragons is a whole heck lot more of the same goodness that Guild Wars 2 has been putting out recently in terms of like their living world and their most recent expansion before this one. So like for a guy that loves it, it's great, right? It's just more of what you want in the end, without trying to reinvent itself from scratch. But yeah, for new people coming in fresh off of it, I don't know. I hope you check it out and love it. But
what would you suggest someone who is coming into Guild Wars 2 today? Where would they start? from the beginning, obviously, but would they play through everything? Like, how does it even? I mean, where would I start? Where I have finished the main. I haven't even finished any of the living world because I just leveled. Like,
yeah,
I did hearts and leveled and didn't do any of the story. Hardly.
Yeah, honestly, I would start. If you're like, I'm gonna throw some time into this, I would start at Path of Fire. So that's the second expansion, and it is really good. Is like the first one, Heart of Thorns, is good, but it catered a lot more in terms of the way that story progressed to I think people that were more deeply seated in the living world versus Path of Fire was just more approachable, more accessible, and then you also get really great things out of it, like all the mounts, for example, which is goodness. So that's probably where I'd start, is go through that. Maybe do the living world seasons in between that if you wanted, but if not, you could probably skip them and go straight into End of Dragons.
All right.
Very good.
So that's what I've been
thanks
playing.
for the Guild Wars 2 update, Jerod. I appreciate it.
I've also been playing Outlands.
Yeah, right.
I created a Knight Echo. So I took my main character and made a different skill set on him. And he is a stealth backstabber that uses a halberd. So he sneaks through dungeons and backstabs monsters in the back with a halberd.
Axe-bladed.
With a giant pole arm.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
It's great because you can like you hide, you sneak up to the monster, and then you like one-shot him. It's so satisfying.
Well, speaking of giant pole arms, that's exactly what I have armed my demon prince with in Total Warhammer 3.
It's actually a pole with a bunch of like Kislev arms hanging off.
A bunch of arms hanging off of it and skulls and stuff. Of course, it's Warhammer, right? Well, so I finished the prologue campaign that they introduce you to the game with. And that probably took me like, I don't know, 6 or 8 hours or something ridiculous. But spoiler, at the end of that, your character, who is now fully corrupted and tricked and manipulated by chaos, is PO'd about it. And then he says, he beseeches the chaos gods, give me but a slice of your power and I'll make it worth your while. And so then he turns into a demon prince. And at that point, the prologue is over. And then you can choose whether you want to play the main campaign as one of 8 different factions. You can play his old faction, the Kislev, pseudo fantasy Russian peoples, or you can play the pseudo fantasy Asian peoples, or you can play like the giant cannibalistic ogres, who are also vaguely like Mongolian or something. Or your remaining 5 choices are the chaos factions. One of them is the Demon Prince Chaos Legion, and he's there representing the like Chaos Undivided aspect of it, where it's like all 4 of the chaoses in one. And then in addition to him,
isn't that unity rather than chaos then?
It's undivided. It's chaos undivided.
I see.
And then,
that sounds rather orderly to me.
In addition to him, you have the 4 individual chaos manifestations, right? So you can be your Nurgle or your Tzeentch or your Slanesh or your Khorne. Well, so I chose to go with my prologue from my protagonist rather from the prologue, and continue playing as him. So I chose the Legions of Chaos, I think it's called, or Demons of Chaos is the name of the campaign. And so it basically picks up, a little bit later in the storyline, like your guy is now in charge of this legion of demons, and they're building him this giant like citadel up in the Norska region, where it's like Finland or something. And there's this guy that comes along who's he's kind of like the narrator for the game story, and he's apparently been cursed by this like magic book, this like tome of fates. And in order for him to lift the curse of himself, he has to get a drop of a god's blood, and then in order to do that, he's gonna like approach you and he's gonna be like, hey, let's go and take over the whole of the realm of chaos, and I'll guide you through that process, and all I want in return is a drop of the god's blood, right? And so that's the like inciting incident for the campaign. And now you're going around as you do in a 4X sort of game where you're basically trying to conquer all the lands. But at the same time, in this one, every so often there'll be like a portal opens to the chaos realms, and like demons come rushing out. But also you can undertake a quest in which you go into one of the chaos realms and then defeat a super demon in there and get one of the demon souls, right? Demon souls, you guys.
That's a different game.
And then something's going to happen once you collect all the demon souls of each of the 4 chaos realms. Then
you go to the Nexus.
Yeah, I guess so. I'm not sure. Something like that. I haven't gotten that far yet. So far, I've only gone into the chaos realms once, and I got in there and I was like instantly fighting like 4 other armies, and I was like, okay, I need to. After I beat a couple of them, I was down to my warlord and like 3 elite guard units, and I was like, I got to get out of here. I got to come back with like 4 armies of my own next time. So I got out of there, and otherwise I've just been doing the thing where it's like you have a few heroes and a few armies that you move around and try to take out competing armies and try to expand your holdings via sieging cities or making military alliances with other factions. When you start this game, it's a really big map, and you don't have the map uncovered, right? Of course, there's fog of war as there usually is in these. But there's something like 110 factions or something at the beginning. And they slowly start to get like wiped out. And then
are they like the barbarian factions in like Civilization?
No, there'll be like so there's like 8 arch factions, right? And then there's like sub factions of those.
Yeah.
So like there'll be like, I don't know, 10 different types of Slaanesh armies out there, and like 10 different types of Khorne armies.
Like the Empire has, it's one faction, but it has like 8 elector counts that are
the red guys and the blue guys and the green guys.
And there's also there's like elves on the map. I thought I saw some orcs maybe somewhere. There was, when I went into the chaos realms, there was an army of like undead just like somehow in Khorne's realm, which I thought was weird. And I destroyed that army, but then a couple of turns later, they were like right there again, led by the same guy, and I was like, this doesn't seem fair. So I don't know. It's like it's really addicting, I guess.
It's Total War, man. Those games.
It's really. It's like it's doing this, getting me into that like loop that I find myself in with like Civilization games, where it's like, okay, I'm gonna do this turn, and then I'm gonna hit the next turn button, but then it's gonna cycle me through everything else that's going on around the map. It's like, I see you down there, Carl Franz. I see what you're doing. Mm-hmm. No, not on my watch. I'm gonna come down there and wreck your stuff.
That's right.
Nice.
But then, yeah, I've had the Kislev Empire has come up and taken over my place called the Black Gulch, which I had taken over from someone else before. And yeah, I'm in the middle of trying to re-siege it to get it back. But my army, which is led by kind of like one of my lesser lords, they're like laying siege to it. But then the guys in the garrison want to come out and like fight, and they outnumber us at the moment. So I'm trying to figure out how to win, because here's the thing: you can auto resolve the battles in the Total War games, but you're letting the AI play for you, right? And if you play out the battle yourself, you can
fudge
better.
it.
You can maybe do better. Like you can, instead of a Pyrrhic victory, you can get like a close victory or something like that, right? Like if you know what you're doing. But with me, it's kind of like, it's like edge of the coin flip, and it's like landing on its edge. Do I know what I'm doing or not? So I'm still messing around trying to like figure out all the intricacies of I got these flying melee units. What are they good against? I don't know. Probably not archers. Probably don't want to send them at archers. What should I send them at? Cavalry? I don't know. Maybe.
Right.
Let's try that out.
Swing them around and do a flanking attack on infantry that's already engaged.
Yeah. That's probably a good idea because they move really fast because they're flying. They're like gargoyles. Basically.
Break that unit instead of trying to kill it.
Yeah. I always like to kill everything though.
Well, you can still kill it when they try to run away.
If the enemy army has like a hero unit, I just beeline for that hero unit to try to break their morale. You know, like kill that general and break their morale. The problem is the generals are like super tough, right?
Yep.
And so while I'm wailing away on the general, all of their like units are, fighting me. So it's like, oh, war.
They're defending themselves somehow.
War is hell.
Total war is hell.
It's good. It's good fun. This might be the most of any Total War game I ever play. We'll see.
It's like one of my favorite franchises of all time. The Total War games are all so good.
I'm still learning how to really be an effective Total War player at the same time. So, but yes, so far it's very enjoyable.
All right, LeGrande, tell us about whatever the mystery game is that you've been playing.
Listen, man. That's the only game I want to play is Elden Ring.
Hey, listen, I have a question for you. So for those of you
now that we can have a proper discussion, you can ask me all the questions you want.
Yeah. So I've got a couple specific ones. For those of you who are only YouTube subscribers to the Game Bytes Show, please check our syndicated podcast feed at GameBytesShow.com for a very special episode, the Roundtable Hold Roundtable, in which LeGrande and friends of the show, James and Casey, talk about Elden Ring and basically how it's pretty much the game that everybody thinks it is. It's just a Souls game with an open world.
Really good. It's really good. I really want Dale to play this game.
Here's the thing.
Dale has to say.
You guys failed to talk about the thing that I want to know about the most, which is I want to know about the George R.R. Martin angle of this game. I want to know. Like, we got White Walkers in there. What do we got? How's he involved? What did he do?
I have no idea. I don't know.
Fair enough.
I don't know. Whatever. It's fine. I mean, maybe he helped them with some story beats. Maybe he helped them with some background lore.
I think it was mostly like world building background stuff.
Probably that, if I had to guess. Because my opinion of Dark Souls games is I don't really know a story about any of the Dark Souls games, and I've played all of them at least a little bit.
Well, you got to link the 5.
This game has an actual something going on, and there's lots of cool characters and lots of interesting places that have their own stories, and I think that is what he probably contributed, if I had to guess.
All right.
But it's not like readily apparent, like where's the influence, but it had to have been that, because there's not really a narrative to speak of.
Yeah, that's weird.
Game, right?
Why would you get him involved? I mean, I guess just to put his name on it. I suppose.
Well, it's world building.
Do they play that up? Is his name on the box?
Not that I haven't seen it anywhere,
or whatever that we have.
It's probably like written somewhere, from the mind of.
I haven't seen it anywhere. I have no idea, and I don't think it's all him, anyways.
From the stubby hunt and peck fingers that brought you.
Plot twist: the main character is George R. Martin. That
would be awesome, dude. I would totally play that.
He's a tarnished
acclaimed author of Wild Cards.
So Elden Ring, if you haven't listened to the other show, which I guess just came out, man, it's so much fun and so good to explore around that world because there is open world stuff to run through. It makes it so you have a little bit of breathing room in between the very difficult parts of that game, I mean, just running around killing basic enemies, and by basic, I mean still deadly. If you just don't approach them cautiously or don't approach them appropriately, then they're still going to kick your ass. Like, it doesn't matter. Anything in these games is deadly if you let them be deadly, right? But kind of running around through the open world to the next point of interest that you see on your map or whatever, or off in the distance you see a little spire coming up, or a broken down castle tower or something. You're kind of heading that way. You kind of have like a little break, and you're kind of just running around, and maybe there's some guys that are walking around on the road, and you swat at them with your sword as you ride by on your horse and get to the next point of interest. And maybe it's a dungeon, maybe it's a little castle, maybe it's a little cave to kind of explore through with a little mini boss at the end. And I don't know, man. There's something about it and there's no like checklist to speak of. There's no icons on the map. There's no nothing. You're just kind of finding these things. And I think that's what makes it so much more exciting. Like, I don't know anyone who tells me like, yo, I can't wait to load up the latest Assassin's Creed game and run to all of those icons and find stuff and find treasures and shit. Like, that's just not exciting anymore to anybody anywhere.
No.
But this game is more of a natural, like, oh, I have this really generic, this map, and I can kind of make out there might be something here in this location. I'm just going to go over there and check it out. And maybe you find something super cool, and you find, a cool encounter with some unique enemies, or with a cool boss fight, the varying degrees of difficulty and scale. Like some bosses will summon with these big life bars, and you beat them, and it comes up on your screen like in typical Dark Souls game fashion, like enemy felled or whatever, great enemy felled or things like that. And it just feels really, really good to run around that world just finding stuff
and killing it. Yeah.
And killing it. And when you do so, like I just went into this I was running around the world, and for whatever reason there's like all these weird types of enemies, and this is the same across any of these Souls style games, where for some reason jellyfish seem to be some sort of a theme, and these big huge floating jellyfish, and I've killed them in several places, and I have a jellyfish that I can summon, and it fights alongside me during key parts of the game. So like a boss encounter, I'll summon this jellyfish, and he's kind of tanky, and he shoots poison damage at the enemies. And I came across this just like a random, like broken down cart in the middle of the road, and it was surrounded by these jellyfish enemies. And I went and killed all these jellyfish enemies that were around this cart. And on the cart, there was a lootable corpse, like you do in these games. You find just bodies all over the place with loot on them. And I looted it, and now I have this shield that is a big jellyfish that is now my shield that I'm using in the game. It's insane, man. This game is crazy. But so I've got this really cool like anchor. It's like a big like fish hook looking anchor thing that is enormous. And then I have this jellyfish shield. I have this ridiculous armor on, and I'm running around just killing shit. And it's amazing. It
sounds like Second Life.
Yeah, basically Second Life.
What you're describing is like open world Dark Souls.
Exactly. It's like, it's legit. I mean, when you look up like a Dark Souls 3 and you say, I want to show me all of the boss fights in Dark Souls 3, you're going to get 20 to 30 bosses, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This game has 150 unique boss encounters with different mechanics, unique boss, it's crazy because every little point of interest that you find is going to have a boss type character. And then they're not going to be these massive to scale, like crazy, insane bosses. Some are just these smaller, more powerful enemies, but they might have they'll be uniquely named. They'll have unique loot that they drop, and they have unique mechanics in a lot of cases, and they're going to be difficult if you're not prepared for them. And then it also has, your fair share of these enormous boss encounters like you would expect, like a main core boss encounter from a Dark Souls game or from Bloodborne or from whatever else. But those small ones allow you to kind of learn the game, practice learn your weapons, learn your skills, learn what works well, and get better at the game. And so then when you do come across those bigger encounters, like you feel more equipped to kind of deal with them. I'm kind of over the hump with where I'm at in the progression, where I'm kind of just getting through all these areas really quickly. I'm not to the degree of Dale in like leveling to level 100 in like the first area, like grinding boars. I haven't done that. But I feel like I'm pretty over leveled for where I am, just because I have been doing so much exploration, and I'm about ready to move on to the next major dungeon. So the game is an open world with all these smaller things, but there's these 6 bosses, like these 6 major boss characters of the game that you're supposed to go hunt down and kill them for their piece of the Elden Ring that you're supposed to be finding, right? And so when you get to those areas, like the first one is this big castle, and when you get to that area, suddenly the game turns into a standard Dark Souls area, right? Where you're in a castle, there's corridors, there's, you know, secret passages, and you're kind of just exploring this castle and making your way to the end where you fight a boss, right? The big boss of the game. There might be several mini bosses within this castle and things like that, and lots of difficult encounters, lots of loot to find. And that's like your typical Dark Souls game. But in between those core dungeons, which are to scale with anything that you would expect from a Dark Souls game, you have just this fantastic open world that is just a joy to run around in and explore and find things to beat up with your fishing hook. Like that's basically what it comes down to. And I don't know, this is the final form of these Dark Souls games. Like I don't like I would not expect to ever see another Dark Souls game that did not have an open world, and if I did, it would not be as good as this game.
It's like the same route that the Assassin's Creeds went. You know, it's like now that they've made 3 that are the RPG formula, it's like I couldn't picture going back to the original, just kind of action game style.
Right,
it wouldn't feel right. So yeah, I mean that's everything I've kind of seen on it. I haven't played it, but it looks great.
I think it's even for you, Jeremy. I know that you complained about Demon Souls. I heard you said Demon Souls broke you, is what you said on the last podcast.
I don't play those games anymore. I did play Bloodborne a little bit.
And I feel like this game, while difficult, might scratch a different kind of itch in that same style that you might be able to.
Here, I think
enjoy.
is the benefit is that you don't end up in a place in a game like this. From what I can tell, you don't end up in a place where you are stuck for options. Like if you can't fight some big thing and you've tried it 10 times and you're just not into it anymore, go the other direction and just keep riding your goat until you find something over there, and there's going to be something different over in that direction.
If you wanted to in this game, yeah, you could just basically progress in levels through the open world and not even do any of the main stuff that you're expected to do, I guess. And by expected, I mean progress the story or progress, get those pieces of the Elden Ring. Like you could level to the end of the thing and never even fight a main boss and get
I have a question.
Elden Ring pieces or whatever,
Is this game, does it have the same oppressive feel as the other games, or is there something lighter about it? I mean, how does it feel?
Well, there's a day-night cycle. There's weather. There's different things will happen depending on what time of day you get to a specific area. So, like for example, this is early on, so I don't feel like this is spoiling anything really, but
yeah.
There's like this big lake in the first area of the game, and I remember going down to the lake and running around, and there was these mobs, and I was killing them. And then one time I went down at night, and there was like this fire on this island, and all of these cultists surrounding it, and they were like chanting, whatever, and they were all, doing something, just being bad guys out in the middle of this lake, right? And I was like, well, what the hell are they? What are you guys all up to over there with your fire? And I went over there to go and
singing around a campfire,
Yeah, I know. They're just like roasting marshmallows. I'm gonna kill them all.
They were definitely praising some evil god, and I ran over there, and as I got over there, suddenly this enormous dragon just swooped out of the air, burned the shit out of them, and then I had to fight this dragon, and it was awesome. Wow. And the thing is like, that happened, and as far as I could tell, and I might be wrong, but that happened at night because that was a nighttime event. And so when you're running around in the daytime through the open world, it doesn't feel like a Dark Souls, like I'm just in this spooky castle and it's all dark and scary and nasty. Like you're in a pretty good looking environment and you're running around this pretty world, and then you come across these monsters and you kick the shit out of them. Like it's and then when it goes to dark and it goes nighttime, like it's a different feel of a game. When it starts raining or if there's fog or anything else like that, it totally changes the feel of the game. And like that's what I'm talking about when you try to compare like this open world, all these mechanics that belong in open world games shoved into this Dark Souls formula. You can tell how it drastically changes the feel and the gameplay and the progression and just your options on what you can do. Like to your point, like you never feel stuck. You never feel like there's not something you can go do. In Dark Souls, like if you get to a point where you can't beat a boss, well, either you grind on mobs to get better gear and level up, or you just grind on that boss until you can perfectly dodge all of his hits and actually win, or you cheese the shit out of him. Like that's basically your three options, or you quit. And that's basically what I have done with every Dark Souls game outside of Bloodborne. I got to that point of the game where I didn't want to do any of that grind and I quit. And this game, I have played more of this game than I played of any other Dark Souls style game, including Bloodborne, which I beat. Because, and I'm not even, God, I've only killed one of the 6 of these Elden Lords, and I've explored, I don't know, 15% of the map. Like it's crazy. It's crazy how the scale of this game, and nothing feels out of place. Nothing feels like it's just copy and pasted. Nothing feels like it's just half-assed. Like everything feels great about this game. There's nothing that feels like, oh, here's some random bullshit side quest in my Assassin's Creed game where I have to go and do this dumb thing for the 20th time. Nothing feels like that. It all feels unique and cool, and the rewards are always rewarding. Even if you're not going to use that sword. Like I found a sword today that was like a crystal blue sword, but it required intelligence, and I can't even use it because my intelligence is not the build that I'm going for. But it was okay because it's a cool looking sword. Now it's just sitting in my inventory, and it didn't feel bad because it wasn't a side quest that I had to take on. It was just a random dungeon that I found that I explored and killed a boss at the end and got a piece of loot, and it was amazing. So anyway, it's even for people who don't generally like these style of games, I think this game might have something for you. If you've been turned off by the difficulty, this game is still hard as shit. Like it's hard, like no doubt about it, but it's definitely a different feeling game from those other Dark Souls games, which might make it feel easier, and to your point, not as oppressive to play as previous games in the genre. And it's great. So at this point in time, man, it deserves all the praise it's getting. It deserves all the high scores it's getting, from my opinion. And early game of the year contender, if not shoe-in at this point, given everything else that is left to come out this year. Like, nothing else I'm excited for more than what I feel about this game. And it's great. So hopefully it comes to GeForce Now and you can give it a shot.
Hey, then that'll do it for me. That'll do it. What did come to a service, and I did give a shot, was this last week, the Ghost of Tsushima Legends multiplayer kind of add-on, which is included with the base game, which I have never played. Looks really good. It's basically like Assassin's Creed Samurai time. And they've kind of done a suite of different multiplayer ideas based on feudal Japan, essentially. The idea is that ghosts, there is a ghost of Tsushima, a titular ghost of Tsushima, but now, did you know that there are many ghosts, and they're like all these like basically they're assassins, right? Like they're just those guys. And what the game does is it allows you access, as far as I can tell, in full to all of the different multiplayer modes. And the thing that this does that I kind of admire is that they are doing a little bit of everything with it. It's not only the Assassin's Creed multiplayer that existed on a couple of those games. It's not just like PvP. They do have some cooperative.
By the way, I would buy a game that was Assassin's Creed Brotherhood multiplayer. I would buy a standalone game and play that.
Yeah. So, I mean, this doesn't really get into that, but there are some not really campaign areas, but there are some cooperative story-based modes that are broken into 2 or 3 parts, and they pretty adeptly vary the types of objectives that you do. You could be killing. The other thing about this, I guess, that I should really say up front is that whereas Ghost of Tsushima is more or less kind of historical and grounded in reality, this is very much about the supernatural, like Onis and possessed Mongols coming to Japan and all of that sort of thing. Like there's just like supernatural stuff all over the place. And the ghosts that you can play as, there are 4 classes. You can be a samurai, you can be an assassin, you can be a ronin, or you can be a something else that I'm forgetting. Oh, like an archer kind of character. And the skill set is pretty limited. I mean, it's basically like quick attack, heavy attack, a couple of abilities, and then a super, basically, that you build up by killing people. There is a pretty direct analog from what they're doing in Ghost of Tsushima Legion. I am not going to say that cleanly the entire time. Legends to Destiny, actually. Some of the modes, they've got a mode that is straight up the Gambit mode from Destiny, where you have two opposing teams that don't touch each other. You don't fight one another, but you kill bad guys, gain points, and then spend those points to send big bad guys to the other side, and then whoever wins. I mean, that's literally the Gambit mode from Destiny 2. They have horde modes type thing where you do waves of bad guys, and of course there are always the usual varied.
Is the combat the same as the regular game?
I can't say because I haven't played that game. I think it is basically the same. One thing that I have not figured out is that I believe in Ghost of Tsushima there are different kind of stances or fighting styles that you can toggle between. In this so far, I've only ever found one. In fact, when you pick a class to play as, that becomes your class until you unlock other classes. So I am only playing as the samurai because I figured that was the basic, entry level kind of dude. But there are all of the menu options and all of the, stealth kills and all of that. All of that is in here. So I imagine that it is probably with very minor modifications, if any. Everything is done by matchmaking, and you can do co-op with players of your choosing, or you can just let it matchmake you. When you successfully complete missions, they give you loot. I don't know what the loot does, but there's shurikens or something you get from that. And it's pretty all right. It's smooth. I'm playing it on PS5, smooth as butter. The hiding is good.
This was the free game on PS Plus, right?
This was on PS Plus this last week. Yeah. So for March, you can play this. And it's pretty much like you would expect. I mean, it's Assassin's Creed-y, it's Japanesey, and you can walk on slack lines and jump off rooftops and assassinate dudes. And there's just a variety. I mean, I would say there are maybe 10 different kinds of things that you can do with this, which is kind of cool. I like that it's not just we're going to do PvP and, have fun with that. They actually do a number of things. I mean, it does not feel like an afterthought. So, but it is free with your PS Plus subscription. And I would say if you have, and it is available either on PS4 or PS5, I believe. So I think you can go either way with it. And it's all right. And it's kind of cool to, kind of like LeGrande was saying, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. It's kind of cool to have multiple players. Like, this is one where I don't mind that there are people who are probably just playing nothing but this, and they're really good at it, because now they're on my team mostly. You can do other stuff, but it's cool for me to kind of be like the one who's getting carried as I sneak through the bushes and someone is over there murdering guys, and then
taking out the whole team.
Yeah, exactly. And then I go in and get the objective, and it's fun for everybody. I'm cool just watching people work. But that's probably about all I have to say about it. You could get into the different abilities and different classes. There's a healer class, a long range class, a straight up fighter class, and then whatever. But maybe just try it out or look at some video of it. And I could see that kind of in the same way that we've talked about some other kinds of games where it's people get exhausted on it. This really is kind of Assassin's Creed in a way that maybe could be a little bit off-putting if you've done a lot of that recently. But it's good at what it does. And like I said, I think that the variety of things, the fact that you can do story mode missions, the fact that, there's all sorts of different kinds of things that you can do. It's just fun. So I would say try it out, give it a session or two. And if you don't like it, delete it, never think of it again. But maybe we should, at some point on this podcast, play the original game and see what we think of that.
It's on my list, man. Again, as I mentioned, this game, it's Ghost of Tsushima, Elden Ring, Horizon Forbidden West,
Returnal. I know you said
Returnal. Those four games are next on my list, and
your
Elden Ring won for whatever reason, and here we are. But could have very easily been Ghost of Tsushima for sure.
Yeah, well, very good. Those are our games this week.
There you go. New releases, which we got from tech-gaming.com. Slow week. Gran Turismo 7 and Triangle Strategy, which has got to be the most forgettable game.
I wish that had been just a working title.
Triangle Strategy might be slow, but I have it on good authority that Gran Turismo 7 is about going fast in cars.
Wow.
Cool.
Got it. So there you go. Rad.
How have they only made 7 Gran Turismo games? How are they only on 7?
Well, no, they've got
a few prologues.
Yeah,
also.
prologue and like Gran Turismo Sport.
Yeah.
Those don't count. Those are like half measure.
Oh, okay. Well, if you take the list and say the other ones don't count, well, then of course they've only made 7 of them. A-Spec.
Well, the first one was on PlayStation 1, Gran Turismo, the original, right?
Well,
1
you
and
see,
2 were on
in Kingdom
PS1.
of Hearts B version 3.1, Rad
Over
Game
62.
Titles, GameTitles.com, Old Coin Pusher Friends. That's one game.
I have a question about this. Is it old coins and there are pusher friends, or are they old friends who push coins?
Guaranteed this, like in the arcades, those like scam games where you put a coin in and it falls down and you're trying to push off as many.
And you're there with your grandpa and he's like, "Hootenanny," and you're like, "Grandpa, this is not what I wanted to do this weekend."
Yeah, exactly.
No, they're friends that try to push coins on you. They're trying to sell you their old like antique coins. They're trying to push them off on you.
Maybe coin is actually like
maybe the friends are all young. They're young people.
It's a new slang for like
but they're
friends.
just your friends that you've known for a long time.
They're trying to push old coins.
Yeah.
That's
all
what
right.
I'm saying.
Well, the other one we have listed here, will you snail?
Yes, I will snail. I think I will.
I think I
Why
snail
not?
in my sleep.
I'll snail.
All right.
Snail too.
Deals and freebies. So a list of games coming to the Xbox Game Pass in March. Far-Changing Tides, Microsoft Flight Simulator Cloud, Lightning Returns,
Yay.
Final Fantasy 13, Kentucky Route Zero, Lawn Mowing Simulator, Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, and Young Souls. Not Demon Souls.
I'm interested
Young
in
Souls.
every single one of these games except for Microsoft Flight Simulator.
Really? Because to me, Microsoft Flight Simulator is the one that, now that it's on the cloud specifically, I don't have to do any of that. Yeah, exactly. Like I don't have to have
you got a point there because, well, when I installed and played that game, I couldn't do anything. So I have a 10 keyless keyboard and it required 10 key. Like I couldn't put my landing gear up because
you gotta get one of these. It's like USB.
I will be interested to see if I can plug in, because I tested this on PC before we started the show, and it does. You can also do it on PC. And I'll be interested to see if I plug in my flight stick, if it will read through the stream, like if I can actually use a flight stick with it. If not, a controller is pretty okay for flight simulator.
Well, it is usually it's the Xbox Series X version of these games, right? So
yes, yeah. This is like a great experience. This is the way to do it. So
yeah, all right. Kentucky Route Zero is a game that is on my wish list on Steam, but now I no longer need it on my wish list on Steam. Guardians of the Galaxy, I will at least check out. Like, why the hell not?
Yes,
we played 4 of the 5 episodes of Kentucky Route Zero on stream, and I think it broke our brains.
Yeah,
did you like it?
Didn't even.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
How come we didn't finish it?
Because it wasn't out yet.
The 5th wasn't released.
Yeah.
Well, it is now. What's your excuse?
I don't have
Go do it.
Game Pass anymore.
Dale, we got that Castlevania Lords of Shadow Let's Play to get back to.
Leaving on March 15th, leaving the Game Pass. So go play them now. You have like a week. Nier Automata, Fogs, Torchlight 3, and The Surge 2.
I love Pogs.
Fogs.
I don't think I'm going to be able to finish The Surge 2 playthrough, unfortunately.
Yeah.
No.
Can't wait to never play Torchlight 3.
Yeah. Well, we got some news and stuff going on out in the world. The first thing that I've got on here is geopolitical turmoil has reached the world of video games as various game companies and others have stopped or have otherwise interrupted their sales and business that they are doing in Russia in accordance with, I guess, all of the world trying to stop things from getting out of hand. And we're going to do it by stopping the Nintendo Switch eShop in Russia. I'm pretty sure that's going to... Vladimir Putin is like, "Niet." Like, this is it. He's not...
as soon as they remove...
Did you just do that?
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
As soon as they release...
He really wants to play that Kirby game, yo.
He's like...
I'm telling you, as soon as they remove...
Get me a VPN stat. I need to download Kirby.
Yeah. So that includes companies like Electronic Arts, which, by the way, in their sports games is also removing Russian teams from their rosters.
That was the joke I was about to make.
No, that's true. That is not a joke. That is.
I know it's not a joke.
Dead serious. Yeah. Take-Two and Ubisoft are doing this. Microsoft, and as far as we know, this also includes hardware. Activision, Blizzard, and Epic. CD Projekt, the Witcher dudes, and Cyberpunk. And then the eShop is technically broken because they've been stopping like the Swift payment system or something. So they're just trying to lock everything down over there. I don't know how it's going. I got to be honest. I am not 100% sure that this, I mean, if it were me, I would probably try to distract people there more so that they were not involved. You know, like I'd probably go the other way with it. I guess I don't know. It's hard to know.
The majority of the general public, as far as reports say, are not in favor of what's going on.
That's right. And
pissing them off by what the government is doing is how you cause people to rise against the government, right?
I mean, I guess you're inciting people to riot, which is probably safe to do in Russia. I'm sure there's no problem with it.
No problems at all. Like rioting is fine as long as it's in a country that is Russia.
I mean, I'd suspect that many people have bigger fish to fry than what's on the.
I will tell you that my workplace specifically is being affected by this conflict because we have several development teams based out of the Ukraine that I am on a weekly call with that are not on the call because they are either trying to find safety or they are in trouble in general. Yeah. And that sucks. It sucks a lot, man. It's so I know that has nothing to do with these stories, but
no, there are Ukrainian developers also that are basically not, the guys who were doing that RimWorld like game. They were working on updates and they're Ukrainian and they're not doing that anymore. So anyway, that's kind of going on, and I don't know. I'm not sure if it's effective or not, but it's a thing that's happening.
I mean, we pile it up with everything else that's happening, and hopefully it makes an impact, right?
Yeah, right. Hopefully something happens. I mean, I don't know. We reported, I think it was last week, on the hackers that were trying to hold NVIDIA's information ransom until they de-throttled all of those GPUs for crypto mining.
Oh, hell yeah, I'm for this.
Well, so NVIDIA apparently did not capitulate, and so these hackers have actually, this is kind of serious, have now disguised signed NVIDIA display drivers as malware, or malware is disguised as signed NVIDIA drivers. So just kind of be aware about that. I don't think that affects their official channels for distribution. So you'll probably just want to make sure that you're using NVIDIA's apps and things that do all of those driver updates and such. But
I have an update right now I can get.
Well, just I guess good, via con Dios, because I don't know.
Luck.
Yeah, I don't know.
See
you
in Russia.
Use the GeForce experience, okay? Like that's the only thing I use to get my drivers.
I'm with you. Nintendo has updated the Switch with kind of an interesting rewards and missions kind of program to do player icons and things like that, where you can do all kinds of tasks like playing online features on games, playing NES software, things like that. Playing an online game a week gets you platinum points.
The Switch?
Yeah, exactly. So they kind of realized that people are getting bored with the Switch, I guess. I don't know. It's been around for 5 years now. Did you know that? It's been a while.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. So anyhow, that's going on. I've tried to encourage my kids to get on there and to get some new exclusive player icons, but they were like, nah, no thanks, Dad. And then the last big news item that I've got here is that the Amazon Luna, very timely now, has burst onto the burgeoning game streaming market and is now in full release. It is no longer in beta. They are doing a sort of limited number of games, sort of a la Xbox Game Pass. So they're doing a monthly circulation of free things that you can play if you're an Amazon Prime subscriber. Or the thing that makes Luna what it is that it works a little bit like, I guess, a little bit like Netflix or a little bit like Game Pass, except they have a whole bunch of different tiers that you can pay for. So if you pay for everything that they offer, it's like $30-something a month, and then there's Ubisoft Plus that you can do. But it is kind of like Game Pass, except it has a little bit of granularity.
Hey guys, good news. One of the games available free with Prime through March 31st is Fogs, so you can get 2 more weeks of Fogs for
Microsoft
free.
Onto Amazon, where it's at. Get those physics.
These games aren't too half bad. So through March 30th,
Devil May Cry 5,
4 is Fogs, Devil May Cry 5 Flashback, I've never heard of, and Observer System Redux. And then in April is the King of Fighters 98 Amnesia, which is a horror game that was pretty good. Tracks, don't know that, but Mortal Shell.
Mortal Shell, that, you guys might like that. The thing that I really want, like the one thing that I want Amazon Luna to do is all of those free games that they've been giving away on Amazon Prime. I just want those to be in my library so that I can play them whenever I want to. Like, to me, that would actually, if they just did that, that would be a service that would rival, and for my interest anyway, it would rival GeForce Now, which is the top of the heap as far as I'm concerned. So anyhow, so you can now go and pay for it. Go check that out over at Amazon, and they have a special controller, but you do not need to use it. You can pair like any controller to that.
How do we feel about this channel-based system?
I like the option to do it. I mean, the alternatives are things like, so the reason GeForce Now is cool is because my existing library for other platforms automatically carries over, and I just pay them a fee to be able to stream it. I think that's cool. On the far other side, you've got Stadia, which is now moving away from games in shame,
right?
To do, I don't know, streaming PowerPoint. I don't know what they're going to do. And then somewhere in the middle here, you've got a tiered subscription-based thing where you just pay for the slate of games that you want as a subset of the total offering. And I think that's a decent compromise.
Okay, so here's the question. So Retro Channel. The Retro Channel is $5 a month, $4.99 a month.
Okay.
Includes such hits as Street Fighter 2.
Okay.
Commando, 1943, Legendary Wings, Ghouls and Ghosts, Castlevania Collection, Centipede, Dragon's Lair, Metal Gear Slug 3. So
a bunch of old games. I would play them once, for 15 minutes maybe, and then never need to really play them again. Right?
In order to keep somebody paying $5 a month for this Retro Channel, they got to keep updating this and adding more retro games every single month, or there's no reason to keep paying for it, right?
Yeah, I think they are. I mean, that's kind of what Nintendo's doing with their service, right? I mean, they're charging you to even use the online function for the hardware that you have, and then they're sort of throwing in as a sort of value add. And they're doing exactly that. They're adding like, S mode, special mode versions of games and stuff like that. So I feel like Amazon has, at least by adding this Prime rotating element that Jerod was just talking about, they are at least signaling that they are interested in keeping this a lively set of software for you to play. So
I'm not sold on it yet, but I'm interested to see where it goes from here.
Just give me my standing library of stuff that I've got on the Amazon platform, and I'm probably totally in at that point. Like right now, they're locked behind this stupid downloader. I don't want to download. I mean, it's the same thing with GeForce. You were joking about Elden Ring, right? Like if I can stream it and not have to make the commitment to run it on my crap old hardware, whatever, like I'm all about it.
It'll work on your PS5, by the way. That's where I'm playing it.
Yeah, that's true. It is on console.
You do have a modern console, by the way, Jeremy.
I do have one of those. Folks, that is going to do it for all of our news, but we have a little bit going on here in the speed run. Start the music.
Pew, pew, pew. God of War TV series reportedly in the works.
Yeah, so Amazon is going to get this.
Yeah, I am interested to know if this is like later era God of War, if they're going to be kind of doing like a synergy thing with the newer games, or if they're going to go back to like
Sparta.
Yeah, Ghost of Sparta. Yeah,
it's actually an adaptation of the PSP game Ashes of whatever.
Yeah. Cuphead has been renewed for a second season. This is the TV show on Netflix, even though we heard that the first season is not funny.
Was it good, though?
I don't know.
Don't have to be.
I heard it wasn't funny, so I didn't watch it. I mean, I doubt that it's like, riveting drama or anything like that, so I don't think it has that. But you're going to get a second season, so maybe the next one will be funny. I don't know.
Epic Games has acquired Bandcamp, that website that sells indie music.
That's weird. But
It's
a weird one.
If Epic can invest in like a shuffle button for Bandcamp, then I am in completely.
Bandcamp isn't SoundCloud. Bandcamp is a place to go buy music from people.
Yeah, but like they also have a player, and I would love to be able, even if I could just shuffle one artist, like I'm trapped in one album at any given time. I would love to be able to.
But it's not made for that. You're supposed to sample that music and then buy it. It's not Spotify for whatever. It's trying to sell you music.
I'm just saying, give me what I want. Like I just want a shuffle button. I don't care if they didn't build it for that. Just give me one. Just give it to me. Just give it to me.
Well, you know what you can't have, and that's Halo Co-op when you want it, because it's been delayed.
Didn't they say that they were going to launch this within like the month of the game coming out or something like that?
And now they're saying that they're not going to launch it within a month.
Listen, the way that game is designed, like I don't know how they would even put in co-op.
I think not only are they doing co-op, but I think they're doing couch co-op. I think they're doing split screen for this.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, the creators of Star Trek Picard are doing co-op with Star Trek Online, and 4 of the spaceships exclusive to Star Trek Online are now canon in the Star Trek universe.
I think that's kind of cool, actually. I like.
Is there a scene where Jean-Luc Picard says, "Get me 4 ships. I need ships." Romulan.
You are the true hero of the quadrants. You are the captain that will save us.
That's right.
You know what? One of us 4 needs to bite the bullet and play Star Trek Online.
It's not going to be me.
I've played it.
I'm a big Star Trek fan, but
I've played quite a bit of it. It was a while ago, though.
It's got to be about the same.
Does anybody here have one of those like lifetime passes to Star Trek Online?
My problem with Star Trek Online was the spaceships all felt very small. Like when you're like flying around, they felt like little toys instead of like big spaceships that you're just zoomed out on.
Well, now those small spaceships are in Star Trek Picard, and I bet Patrick Stewart is going to die making that TV show.
Did any of you guys watch Star Trek Picard? Did you guys watch that?
Yes, I watched it when it was on like CBS. They were doing their paid channel for the first time, and Picard was on there. So I watched like 4 episodes. Now. It's all about androids and stuff. It was all right. It was fine.
Caprica?
Yeah. He would sit in his manse in France. He said he was in his manse in France.
I hate that.
In his fancy pants, doing a dance. That's what he was doing there.
We have to move on.
Lost Ark, the game that some people like, has banned over 1 million accounts for using bots. So there's your Android connection, I guess.
Nice.
Wow. I haven't played that game since Elden Ring came out.
And their bots.
Sorry.
I played it just today.
If you like to use bots, you're a bunch of thoughts. That's what I'm saying.
Thought bot.
I can't think of anything that rhymes with that. And it seems like such a simple thing.
Why don't you go sleep on a
you need to play more Wordle, then you'll figure out what rhymes with bot.
I've got such a sleepy old man brain
now. Finally here, Famitsu reveals that in 20 years since the original Xbox came out, Microsoft has only sold 2.3 million Xboxes. I'm assuming this is in Japan. Which is pretty good.
Coincidentally, that's the exact number of foreign students who have come to Japan.
Yeah, they're all expatriates living there who are like, I need some Mountain
It's
Dew
also the number of Nintendo Switches they sold last week in Japan.
Oh, man. Microsoft. Oh, gosh. Guys, that's going to do it for the speedrun, and that's going to do it for this Game Bytes Show podcast for this week. I want to thank everybody for making it through to the end with us and watching us on youtube.com/GameBytesShow, where we do this thing live. Come subscribe, ring that bell, and be notified when we go live. Yes, sir.
Hey, I set up some sweet bots on the Discord channel, guys. We're like in the future on the bleeding edge of Discord technology.
It's amazing.
We've got Discord bots that announce every time we start streaming on this,
including friends and associates and colleagues. Our colleagues in the world of video games can have your name in our tens of streamers channel, where tens of streamers is the goal.
Tens of viewers.
Tens of viewers. Yes, I'm sorry. Tens of viewers is the goal that you're trying to get to. But as always, if you have any thoughts or comments, you can find us there in Discord. But you know what? Twitter is where it's at. That's where we're at all the time, tweeting. And you can find us there collectively at Game Bytes Show on Twitter. You can also find us individually. I am at Jeremy_Lamont.
I am building my personal influencer brand over at LeGrande on Twitter.
He's getting there.
I am at Count Elmdor.
And I am tweeting about all of the good games like Guild Wars 2 and Outlands at Red_I.
Coincidentally, those are all the good games, Jerod. So
that's it. That's all of them.
You're doing right by us. Find us over at GameBytesShow.com. Find the podcast feed of all of our syndicated episodes going all the way back. Roll the dice. Go find one back somewhere in our history, in our dark past, and let's.
But you're going to say roll that beautiful bean footage.
Roll that beautiful bean footage.
How long have we been doing this?
GameBytesShow.com. I don't know, 6 years or something. There was
been longer than that. I've lived in this house for 7.
Really? Maybe 7. Something like
Maybe
that.
Not.
I try not to think about it too much, but
it's 14.
Something like that. It was something like that. That can't be right. Oh my gosh. Anyway, you can find us also at GameBytesShow.com. There's a link to the Discord there. If you're not already in, come join us in Discord. I noticed that our numbers of Discord people are swelling just a little bit, which makes it sound like there's some kind of inflammation or pus or something in there. But yeah, come join our legions, our tens of Discordites. Well, I don't know what you call people who use Discord over at the
Discordians.
Discordians. Which is the new instrument that I really want to pick up. I'm going to play the Discordian. Anyhow, guys, that is going to do it for this episode of your Game Bytes Show podcast. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you next time.
Bye.
Seeing you.